Part 22. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 211. The cattle group is 14 people. If you take result 1 and add the favored recipient's share, you can create 8.5 million points. Oreki will take half of it, which means that he can take away 4.25 million from this group alone. And should Class B bear this part of the responsibility? Class B is clearly in a damaged state. The recipient of the preferential treatment was guessed by Hashimoto, that is, Hashimoto of Class A, and the gap in the class evaluation score was increased by 100 points. Therefore, Ichi-no said quickly, "Oreki-san, please stop talking." She had noticed that Kanzaki-san seemed to be stunned. And this is not a good state of affairs. Kanzaki-san, who was assigned to the dragon group these days, has been tortured by Ryuan, so when he calms down, he will definitely regret it. And she couldn't be sure after that, because such a loss would make her realize more violently than when she was caught in the rain on the island before. For example, drop out of school or something. And this is not what everyone in Class B wants to see. The students in Class B are very gentle, and they don't want anyone to fall behind or disappear. And in this case, this is the only way to go. "We are willing to accept your terms," she said. "We will cancel the report of Ryuan's beating. And ask Mr. Hashinomiya to delete the photos of Ibuki and Ishizaki Daiichi. In fact, I feel a little regretful. Because of her leadership in the Kojima exam, although everyone's final score was barely acceptable, she felt her own shortcomings. Result. This time, she thought that Oreki-san had already obtained the information about the preferential treatment person, so she couldn't resist. As a result, Kanzaki-san failed to stop the outburst in advance. And now it's getting worse again. Fanbo felt that after coming to this school, he gained many friends and felt like he was reborn, but he was still being taught how to behave. However, we cannot afford to pay the loss of the cow group. If you accept it, then I will sign, Ichi-no said. Okay, Oreki nodded. Then you won't be asked to compensate for the loss of the cattle group. Kanzaki. After hearing this, Kanzaki-san looked at the signed names and finally wrote his own name. And Long Yuan also signed his name. So. Oreki-san looked at everyone's signed names and smiled. Please notify everyone and wait at 9:30 tomorrow night. I will arrange for someone to send the correct answers to your corresponding groups. And of course, don't forget to take the exam together, including the students in the cow group, Oreki added. And Ichi-no's discovered that Oreki-san had brought the Ushijimai out again. Niugui, isn't the exam over already? Kanzaki Ryaji also came to his senses. Then you are really naive, Long Yuan said. Oreki is even interested in the 800,000 yuan in my hand, how could he sacrifice a group casually, Ryuan said. A group can create a value of 4 million plus for him, how could he not want it? For it. In other words, in the cow category, Hashimoto sent the preferential candidate information to end the exam. Is this actually a lie? The price is 100,000 points, and inviting Mr. Majima to record includes installing new speakers, Oreki said. And Horikita-san has already taken off the speaker. It is indeed just a newly installed speaker, not a school facility. In other words, this is just a plan to defeat Kanzaki and Ichi-no's psychological defenses. That is to say. Have you thought about this? Ichi-no suddenly felt that Class A was even more distant. And the next day, at 10 o'clock in the evening, students will continue to work overtime due to work commitments. As the student council president, Horikita Manabu obtained the information from the chairman immediately when the preferential candidates exam was over. Probably because he felt that the result was too surprising, Horikita paused for a long time. Then, Nagamo Horikita looked at the accountant who was working. The results of the preferential treatment are out. Are you out? So how many points did Oreki and the others get this time? Nagamo was reading information on the computer. A statistic you can't think about. Haha, Nanyun smiled. How many can there be? Is it 20 million? If he makes another 20 million, I will eat this computer, this display screen. A little analysis revealed that this exam was very brutal. All 4 classes must work for the benefit of their own class. So how much can Oreki-san get by himself? Then maybe not, Horikita Manabu said. He didn't get 20 million. Oh, Nanyun thought this was right. So how much? 40 million, Horikita said. Nanyun felt that he had heard an auditory hallucination. Chapter 092, 40 million. Sakayanagi, the school is really a great charity. Sakayanagi. Nanyun felt that he had heard hallucinations. Because 40 million. Is it possible? However, the time now is 5 minutes past 10 o'clock in the evening on June 25th. The school side can receive the test results in real time. As a result, 30 or 40 million. You must know that in that exam, I was only very good and got more than 5 million. This is already a pretty good record. Result. Is it really beyond his understanding? Horikita Manabu seemed to smile, and he took out the glasses cloth and wiped his glasses again. Nagamo, so you understand the optimal solution to the preferential treatment test. Nanyun. Exam for preferential treatment candidates. The test for preferential treatment candidates has a total of 4 results. It's divided into quick answers and non-rush answers. If the group members don't rush to answer, then if you answer between 9:30 and 10 p.m. on the 3rd day of the exam, you will see. Result 1, the group members guess the identity of the favored recipient. 50 W for each member of the group, 1 million for those with preferential treatment. Result 2, no points will be deducted if the identity of the preferential recipient is not guessed or the guess is wrong. Those with preferential treatment will receive 50 W individually. And in the case of rushing to answer, quickly guess the identity of the favored recipient of the group, guess the correct class, add 50 points, individual add 50 W, favored recipient's class minus 50 points. The identity of the preferential recipient of the wrong answer group, the class with the wrong answer minus 50 points, the preferential recipient 500,000, the preferential recipient's class add 50 points, dot. The final result is these 4. Horikita Manabu was reviewing past exams for Nagamo. Of course Nanyun knew about this test. If Oreki wants to get so many points, he can only choose outcome 1. Because if you want to charge students, you have to have money from the students. That guy really copied your work, Horikita Manabu said. You controlled the 2nd grade, and he united the 1st grade. Nanyun. So, I don't understand. Because it is a fact that he controls the 2nd grade, there is nothing to say. But didn't Oreki Houtarou himself say that he was unhappy with controlling the 2nd year school? In the end, he came himself? But, however, if Oreki Houtarou wants to ask for such a huge amount of points, the school will not agree to it, Nagamo said quickly. Because so many points suddenly have to be spent, the school's finances will suddenly be tight. Horikita learned. It seems that Nanyun still doesn't understand. It's not that the school won't agree, but that the school actually feels that their students have not seen the real answer. In other words, everyone has been getting it wrong all along. Nanyun really hasn't understood yet. In fact, Nagayun's shock is understandable, because the chairman's old employees at the school also think the same way. They have been working for 10 years, and even the students have been sent away several times. They are old employees. The exams in this school change frequently. But there are some that won't change. For example, the Code of Conduct test for freshmen in the 1st month of school allows students to discover the differences in the school and then respond. As well as the old questions for the second month's written examination, students can gain a deeper understanding that this school is not rigid. The third month small island test and preferential treatment test is also customary. Then comes the dormitory exam, which is the most critical period for third graders. Oreki Houtarou Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 212. Because several exams are customary, you can see the performance of students from different years. Yes. Both the small island test and the preferential treatment test were amazing to them. In the small island exam, you need to live a hard life on the small island, and then find each other to compete for strongholds. And then there is the stage of guessing the team leader. Therefore, the results of previous students were average, or rather poor. The better ones are those who scored over 200 or 300 points. The best scored 402 points. Result: First grade class A at 471 points. First grade class B at 300 points. First grade class C at 0 points. Oh. There will be no extra points for class C, so put it aside for now. But first grade class D at 650 points. It's really surprising. Even they themselves are a little confused. Do they think they can get so many points on the small island? The same goes for the preferential treatment test. In the past, if students failed in the Kojima test, they would be desperate to recover their scores. The class that gained an advantage responded passively to this test to maintain its advantage. So the final results were neither good nor bad. Result: After the Kojima exam was over and the results were received, even the chairman confirmed the correctness of the two results. Because it is very exaggerated. Even the best student council president Horikita Manabu only got a high score of 402 points in that exam. Then finally got the exam process submitted by Mr. Mashima. Then also let them understand how these points are obtained. Exchange basic points with other classes. Moreover, the stronghold is directly surrounded. But at the end, a loophole was exploited and the team leader was not allowed to be changed at will without justifiable reasons. These performances are, to be honest, quite amazing. Then I also got something else. That is, finally some students try to look at the problem from the school's perspective. The specially set up number 41 stronghold was found to be occupied. This is the first time this has happened in the past 3 years. In fact, they are guiding students to have an overall view, and from different perspectives, you can see different points. Their school is unique in that it is funded by the government in order to deliver talents to society. And there are quite a few people staring at this place. Therefore, the talents sent out are more likely to be valued than others and receive corresponding opportunities. So from this perspective, there is a need for the emergence of outstanding students with a hierarchy and structure. And now, they were actually looking forward to the preferential treatment test. Since the small island test can surprise people so much, can the preferential treatment test make them wait and see again? Then the result is like this. The total is 146 students. It includes 11 preferential treatment recipients, each of whom can receive a preferential treatment reward of 1 million points. And the remaining 146 minus 11 equal 135 students will each receive 500,000 points as reward. The staff almost lost their voices as they read out the information they received. Because this time, a total of nearly 80 million points will be spent. And this is just the expenditure for one exam, which has never been done before. Have you ever seen this result? Never seen it at all. Because isn't this class competition? The fact that all students can obtain so many points means that all students who are still taking the exam have chosen outcome 1. As a result, all of you actually chose outcome 1, gave up looking for preferential treatment and backstabbed other classes, and instead chose to share the money with peace of mind. Chairman. So at this time all the staff looked at the silver-haired man sitting in the highest position. Yeah, the chairman took off his glasses and wiped them. Then he said, "This class of students is really different. I didn't even expect that they would actually choose to compromise in the preferential candidate test. This is probably because they saw the original intention of this exam," the staff member said. "Because this is the only opportunity in the first grade to get a huge amount of points. If you are just short-sighted, you will only notice the 50 or 100 class evaluation scores. And those with preferential treatment will take the exam," the chairman said. "Have you ever thought about why you are called a preferential treatment person? Those who receive preferential treatment are given preferential treatment, so they can take the test with peace of mind, because they will be treated well," the chairman said. "The small island exam is generally considered to be a hardship, and then returning to the ship is preferential treatment. This means that the school will not make things more difficult. But not many people can think of this. And being able to do this is obviously a rule for those who have received preferential treatment. Then it led to this result," the chairman said. "Does that mean this is the optimal solution?" the staff member understood. "This year's class of first-year students is unique," the chairman said. "I think probably in this year, every class can put together a huge amount of points. And when the time comes, there will be other exams, such as when a huge amount of points must be spent. Will they be willing to hand it over? I'm looking forward to seeing what they choose," the chairman said. "That means we can look forward to their growth more than ever," the staff member said. In other words, the staff are also motivated. After all, this is an institution for cultivating people. It would be a joy to watch the students grow. Instead of looking at the second-grade students who are a little sad and can no longer think for themselves, people are worried that when graduation comes, can they really push out the second-grade class like this? Bring me the bill," the chairman said. "Then start signing the contract now. And you need to work too." "Needs work?" Because there are 146 student accounts that need to be refreshed, it is natural to start checking and transferring money. You really need to be busy for a while. Then, the chairman's office is brightly lit. On the ship, Oreki-san and the others expelled the recipients at the same time at 9:35 p.m., and after sending the information about the recipients of their own group, the end of the exam was also announced on the ship. However, the exam is over, and the representatives of each class who were in the private room yesterday afternoon are now gathered together. Still in the original private room. Class A Katsuragi Yasuhei, Oreki Houtarou. Class B Ichi Nose Hanamai, Kanzaki Ryaji. Class C Long Yuan Xiang. Class D Horikita Suzuan, Kushida Kikyo, Hirata Yasuke. There are 8 people in total, all present. Because Oreki-san's agreement with them is not over yet. In other words, now everyone is waiting for the points to arrive and then complete the final step. Collect half of the points earned by the students in your class and transfer them to Oreki Houtarou. Don't all look so gloomy. Oreki-san found that except for himself and the cheerful Horikita-san, the other class representatives were not in a good mood. But Katsuragi-san's side is quite stable. Because the exam for preferential candidates is over. For Class A, he was satisfied with the results of this exam. The class evaluation score increased by 471 points. The gap with lower classes widened again. At the same time, although they signed an agreement with Class D to spend 800,000 points every month until they graduate. But now every student can get 250,000 points. Although it is a pity that Sakayanagi is not here, she also contributed in this time's preferential candidate exam. Participated in the derivation of the law of preferential treatment. In the end, Oreki Houtarou got the information about the recipients of other classes. Then the current result was achieved. So, this exam shows that Sakayanagi is also assisting Class A. After all, If his Katsuragi faction keeps competing with the Sakayanagi faction, it is actually not a good thing for the class. But Sakayanaga's idea was too radical, and he felt it was unsafe. So the current result is the best. Katsuragi-san feels very satisfied. But the expressions on Class B and Class C were very bad. Of course. Because Oreki-kun, you are making a lot of money, and Horikita Suzun can still share the money, so of course she is also very relaxed. Therefore, Kushida-san was happy to be excluded and even exposed as a spy. Her mood became quite bad. Because what she was thinking was that Oreki would exclude her and doubt her. She was referring to the relationship between teacher Hashinomi Yachiya and teacher Chibashira from Class B. I think Horikita looks like Chibashira. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 213. And she looks like Hashinomi Yachiya here. Disgusted. Indeed. Sometimes when I look at Chibashira sensei, I feel that Chibashira sensei looks a bit like Horikita Suzun. Then, Oreki discovered that Hashinomi Yachiya was obsessed with Chibashira, even a little perverted, so he thought there might be something wrong with her. In this way, he paid special attention to her, so when he found out that she had deliberately blocked him to prevent her from being tracked by his GPS, he immediately got involved and found someone else to check her location. Bad language. And all this is because I think she looks like Hashinomi Yachiya. So, Hashinomi Yachiya is none of her business. Kushida-san's mood became bad. Because I don't want to grow up to be that kind of adult. Call. Everyone did as required. Hirata was in a good mood. Everyone agrees that this is the situation he wants to see most. But what was a little bit embarrassing was that the monkey group's exam ended early. And except for Yuanji, the other 3 students in the monkey group of Class D did not want to be excluded from the money sharing. So I hope everyone will collect all the points. Although they have handed over half, they also want to be divided. Because it can't be that other students have it, they don't have it. So they are arguing, if it doesn't work, then they also want half of the 50-point class evaluation score of the monkey group that Yuanji got. If Yuanji gets 25 points, then they want the remaining 25 points. Because Yuan Temple deprived them of the opportunity to share money together. So after the transfer is completed, he still needs to go back and coordinate these students. I might not be able to sleep at 0 o'clock tonight. Of course I'm not happy, Long Yuan said. He already has a silver white school mobile phone in his hand. I borrowed 500,000 from Oreki Houtarou and got it from Ida sensei. So now Long Yuan is in debt. You earned all the points this time, he said. I also think it's a bit excessive. Kanzaki Ryaji also spoke. In fact, his condition is already better than yesterday. Yesterday, his emotions were over the top. He failed in Kojima's exam, and then he was mentally harassed by Ryuan and almost collapsed. So I can't control my emotions. The loudspeaker in the private room reminded him that the cattle group exam was over, and he suddenly woke up. At that time, I was wondering if it was because of me that my class had points deducted, and I was already preparing to automatically apply to drop out of school. As a result, it was discovered that the cow group was just cheating him by ending the exam. Therefore, the information about the preferential recipients of the cattle group in Class B is retained. Not only will no points be deducted, but students in the top group of Class B can also participate in the money sharing plan. This is slightly reassuring. But now, everyone is waiting for the school to distribute points, and then they have to collect half of all students' points to Oreki Houtarou. He felt that this was simply a money grab. It's not too much. It's just that you didn't review the exam questions properly, Oreki said, and this includes Ryuan. and I'm giving the correct answer. Ryuan was forced to go into debt again this time, and then had to expose the spies of Class D. He was in a bad mood. And now? What is this guy Oreki Houtarou talking about? Could it be that there are other solutions to this exam? Think carefully about the essence of this exam. Oreki-san said, 4 test results. Rush answer or no rush answer. If there is no rush to answer, then the best solution is to award points to all members, and to rush to answer will be to deduct points from each other. But think about it, what is the score gap between our classes now? Katsuragi didn't think about the real answer. So Katsuragi-san kept calm and looked at Oreki. When Oreki-san directly sold him the student union position, he discovered that Oreki-san's thinking mode and direction may be very different from everyone else's. So what is the correct solution at this time? Oreki continued. And a group that guesses the answers correctly can bring a 50-point class evaluation score to the class. What can it bring? 40 students, which is only 200,000 a month, and only 2.4 million a year. But if it's going to result 1. If a group comes down to, well, if you calculate it as a group of 13 people, then it's 12x 50 add 100 equals 7 million points. So this is obviously a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for everyone to save points. Do you have any brains to think about choosing scores? But Ichino said, if our Class B guesses the favored recipient of your Class A, then the 100-point gap in class evaluation scores can be shortened. Class A now has 1,801 points. Class B has a score of 970. There is indeed a big gap. For Class B students who want to be promoted to Class A, this is a blow. So if you want to shorten the distance, that's no problem. But that makes no sense, Oreki-san said. Do you think class competition is just for Class A? I do not think so. Does that mean points are paramount? Ichino asked immediately. Of course, points come first, Oreki said. The school points can be spent at school, and there is news that only third-year students know. When they graduate, the school will use cash to collect points from students according to a certain percentage. So, basically, in this school, only students who graduate from Class A can get the school's honor and lead a bright future. But what about other students? What have they gained after 3 years in school? Indeed. Although I will be asked to graduate from another school in the end. But it is true that I have gone through 3 years in this school and passed various special examinations. And these are also an experience for them to face various things in society in the future. At the same time, what if you can continue to save some points and convert them into cash during this period? It will be helpful for future work or further study and life. So now you have the opportunity to get 250,000 points for nothing. Why should you give up? Oreki-san said. For it. This is something that no one has thought about. In other words, if you come to this school to study, you have to make some money for yourself, for the future, right? Then. Everyone got to know Oreki-san again. Beep. 500,000 points have been credited to your personal account. The transfer party is XF10001. 500,000 points have been credited to your personal account. The transfer party is XF10001. 500,000 points have been credited to your personal account. The transfer party is XF10001. At this time, everyone sitting in the private room found that their accounts began to arrive. School transfers. Students who forget to turn off the transfer notification sound will have a voice announcement on their mobile phones. In other words, the school really approved the Result 1 plan. But 1 million points have been credited to your personal account. The transfer party is XF10001. When everyone has 500,000, 1 million suddenly stands out. And that was Kushida-san. Well, Realizing that everyone was looking at her, Kushida said quickly. I'm the preferential one. Ordinary group members receive 500,000 yuan, and preferential treatment members receive 1 million yuan. So those who are favored are favored. Long yuan. Day. 10 minutes ago, as a member of the Dragon team, Ryuan also sent Kushida's name to the school. And now. At this time, Ryuan suddenly discovered that when Kushida contacted him, she first revealed her identity as the preferential one. But Long Yuan felt that it was unsafe not to see the mobile phone. So I asked Kushida to steal the key to the cell phone. In the end, he was caught and blackmailed by Oreki. So I was so angry that I shut myself up on the spot. But it seemed like I just missed an opportunity. Because the reason why Oreki Houtarou is so aggressive is because he deceived the students of Class D from the beginning and cooperated with Suzun Horikita to confiscate all the mobile phones of Class D students. Therefore, I also know the preferential recipient information of the students in Class D. But Shiana said that the law can be deduced by requiring information on at least 5 preferential recipients. So there are 3 of them from Class C, then 1 from Kushida, and then, that guy from Kojinji, couldn't he finish the monkey team's exam? Therefore, Kojinji Temple can also provide information about a preferential treatment recipient. Oh no! The monkey group treater at Jiyuan Temple was from his class. If it is another class, then he can also get the rule of preferential treatment. So, Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 214. Still bad luck. Ryuan thought. Ryuan, it's your turn to transfer money at this time, Oreki-san's voice sounded profound. Ryuan quickly took a look and found that both Katsuragi and Ichino's had put away their mobile phones. And this obviously fulfilled the agreement with Oreki Houtarou, collecting half of the points from the classmates, and then transferred the money. In other words, he still didn't transfer money to Oreki Houtarou. But the students in the class have begun to become active. He was talking about something like 500,000 being paid into his account. Then people like Ishizaki started asking him if he would transfer the points to him now. Ryuan said. Just wait for the next exam. Because the total amount received in his account was 13.5 million. Among them, the school assigned a total of 19 million points to their class, but he distributed 150,000 to each student, so he had to pay Oreki Houtarou 9.5 million, so he could continue to have 4 million on hand. 4 million, which is 1/5 away from the large data of 20 million. And this point is enough to be proud of. Because even second-year Nagayunya had almost saved so much during this period. After all, I have to stay in this school for 3 years, and now is the beginning of understanding this school, so there are still opportunities in the future, right? Moreover, Oreki Houtarou stopped Ichino's and the others from reporting the fight to the student council. So the class saves another 100-point class evaluation score. Ryuan Sho's mood became good. 9.5 million has been credited to your account. Transfer to Fang. Ryuan Xiang. Oreki's cell phone also rang. Oh no, Ryuan, your number is wrong. I haven't given you the 500,000 yuan to replace your mobile phone, Oreki-san said. Long yuan. 500,000 has been credited to your account, transfer to Fang Longjia Yuan Xiang. Snort. It won't be so easy next time, Ryuan said. In fact, he had already thought of it. Although he missed this exam, he was assigned by Oreki Houtarou. He took the bulk. But each student still got 250,000 points in their hands. Collected together, it is also a big number. So, next time, let's choose Class D as our opponent. Squeeze Class D dry. With this in mind, he glanced at Kushida. Although he didn't know why Kushida hated Horikita so much and even wanted to drop out of Horikita Suzune, this was still an opportunity, wasn't it? In this way, after the transfer, Ryu and Xiang from Class C left the game directly. So Hirata-kun also completed the transfer. "I'll go back first," he said. Because in the future, he needs to balance the 3 students in the monkey group who ended the exam early and were unable to participate in the money sharing. "Then I'll go back first, since it's very late after all," Kushida said. "I was taught a harsh lesson in this exam," Ichinose said. "But this also shows the importance of points, they can be equated with money when you graduate. She has secrets, and money is really important to her. So, I am already thinking about whether to save more. This exam is my fault." Kanzaki Ryaji closed his eyes. So they left too. Then Katsuragi-san from Class A was left. "When I graduate from the 3rd grade, I can redeem the accumulated points. I think this is quite important. His family background is not good, his parents are dead, and he and his sister are dependent on each other. Then he was selected to come to Yuchin High School and assigned to Class A. Then he also hoped to graduate as Class A and get cash from the school, ultimately improving lives. But now, you can actually start from accumulating points. I owe you a favor," the honest Katsuragi-san said. So he left. In this way, Horikita-san is the only one left in the huge private room. Oreki-san knew that Horikita-san was waiting for him to share the money. It is indeed sense. Several points transferred by class representatives were credited to his account. But these points may be different in each class, because the members of each group are different, so there is a difference of more or less 500,000 to 1 million points. But for Oreki-san, all students taking the exam are ATM machines. There is no distinction between classes. So, the points that finally came to his hand were, excluding Sake and Aga's 159 students, and because the monkey group ended the exam, 146 students remained. There are a total of 11 groups of these 146 students. Can be produced. 11, preferred recipients, x 100 plus, 146 minus 11, x 50, ordinary group members, equals 78.5 million. Then get half of it, which is 39.25 million. Probably because he thought he could rest for a while, Oreki-san was in a good mood. I took out a piece of paper and listed the expenses this time. First, you spent 400,000 points to rent a backup machine. And I spent a total of 250,000 points on consecutive bookings of venues and rooms here. Then there was another 100,000 yuan spent on having Mr. Majima record the recording and installing speakers to fool Kanzaki in Class B. And throw away Ryuan's cell phone for 100,000 yuan, Oreki-san said. Horikita thinks there is no problem with these projects. These are costs. But there are also a lot of rewards here. 39.25 million. So in the end Oreki Houtarou can get 3,925 minus 40 minus 25 minus 10 equal 38.4 million. And Horikita-san can get 10%. 3.84 million has been credited to your account. The transfer was made to Houtarou Oreki. Horikita Suzune looked at her phone. She felt satisfied. Because as a member of the ordinary group, she can still get the 250,000 she deserves. So this time the reward is 4.09 million. But after that, 200,000 yuan needs to be paid to Kushida as hush money. But it was also a huge profit. Only after receiving the money, Horikita-san did not leave immediately. Are you going to tell other class representatives that the school will take back the graduation points of 3rd graders out of kindness? Is it because of kindness? Of course not, Oreki-san said. Just give them something to look forward to and then start saving money hard. Because points can be spent in school. I put the points with them first. What if they spend money lavishly? When I have the opportunity to take it over, maybe there won't be that many. Oreki-san said. Oh. Then it's you. Horikita-san nodded. Oreki-san was still the same as her. He was the one who discovered the business opportunity of opening a store when he first entered school, but this was not a business opportunity, but a gimmick he borrowed. He told her directly that he was going to defraud people, and then took her to deceive people. But Oreki-san said. Can I change the hand holding today? Today they haven't held hands yet. Horikita also always thought that Oreki-san needed to gain more experience with her in order to resist Kushida's charm. Another way, Horikita asked. Oreki nodded. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 215. Try to imitate Kushida and hold my palm with both hands. Oreki said. Learn from Kushida. Indeed. Horikita Suzun thought that Kushida had indeed done this. Is that so? Suzun put the phone in her pocket, then held Oreki's left hand tightly with both hands. His left hand seemed to be falling, but she held it. The hand is held correctly. Oreki said. But smile. Smile. Yet. That kind of tolerance, like a very mature feeling, Oreki said. Then what kind of smile is it? Horikita seemed puzzled. Probably it's the feeling you feel after completing all your goals and finally realizing that you've completely settled down, Oreki said. Is that so? Horikita Suzun seemed to think for a moment. Then. Almost at this moment, Oreki-san thought he saw lawyer Horikita in a precognitive dream. In other words, the woman who can tolerate him like a wife really appears here. Outside the private room, there was a person standing guarding the door to be precise. But what I heard was something like holding hands. By the way, didn't Sakayanagi say that Horikita Suzun didn't matter at all? But I always feel like this is dating. And thinking about it? Kamuro-san noticed that his phone vibrated. Someone called. And above it was a familiar name. Sakayanagi Arisu. This is Sakayanagi Arisu calling. Should I say that her timing is accurate or that she has full skill points? But why call her? Excuse me, Oreki-san, I have your phone number. Kamuro-san then walked in. Horikita-san also released his hold on Oreki's hand at the right time. She felt that she needed to find Sakura-san for some emotional counseling tonight. Because when she just held Oreki Houtarou, she seemed to have some insights. Yesterday's update has been completed, now let's count the bounties. The previous data was monthly tickets 3,695, blades 2093, recommended tickets 46,064. The current data is monthly tickets 6,379, blades 3,019, recommended tickets 63,431. According to the monthly ticket, 2,000 words will be added for every ad 100. Every time the blade reaches ad 50, 2,000 words will be added. Every 2,000 recommendation votes will be updated with 2,000 words. So now I owe you a total of 26.84 ad 18.52 ad 8.68 equal 54 chapters and 2,000 words. In addition to the guaranteed update in one day, it will take 10 days and to write an additional 4 chapters of 2,000 words or 5 chapters of 2,000 words. Unruly.jpg, crying. Also, do you still have monthly passes? There is a difference of 700 votes from the second place on the list. Woohoo! Chapter 093, New Assessment, Sports Festival. And Class D might send it? Kamuro-san walked in, and Horikita Suzun left as she had already obtained her share of points. Your phone. Kamuro-san said. Oreki-san has already noticed that the name on the display screen is Sakayanagi Yuzu. In other words, it's Sakayanagi-san's phone number. At this time, she could still call to tell her that she was at the school gate. And the other side. Horikita Suzun also returned to the dormitory. Her dormitory on the ship was a triple room, along with Sakura Eri and Kushida Kikyo. Among them, Sakura-san is actually a beautiful woman, which is surprising, but neither Kushida nor Horikita cast other eyes on her. It made Sakura feel at ease. Because she is a relatively introverted and timid girl. If she gets separated from her roommate or is questioned a lot because of this, she may not be able to accept it. And Horikita-san is her neighbor in school. Although we don't usually talk much, I feel very at ease. Only. Horikita-san. Sakura-san was a little curious. Because Horikita-san has been asking her about some strange questions recently, such as her body suddenly feeling relieved and feeling heavy and light. The feeling of holding hands with a boy. But now, her cheeks still seem to be slightly rosy. In other words, it's difficult. Could it be that, it's, a topic of love? Sakura-san became interested. Kushida-san has actually returned, but Kushida-san, who is best at talking about love, is taking a shower now. So only she and Horikita-san stayed in the room. In love. Horikita Suzun shook her head slightly. I can't be sure, or I don't understand these things, and I don't think such things are needed in high school. Oh. That's not true. She even thought that Horikita-san was in love. But Horikita-san is still talking. So Sakura Eri quickly listened carefully. Can you shake my hand? Horikita said. Sakura blinked, but obediently stretched out her left hand. And Horikita Suzun tried to hold Eri's hand as she had just held Oreki-san's left hand. Sakura, your temperature doesn't seem that high, she said. Well, this should be it. I don't have a cold, but it seems to be normal. Eri felt that Horikita-san's description was a bit strange, but she still answered honestly. Thank you. Horikita let go of Sakura's hand. But it's also very reassuring. Yes, is that so? Sakura-san didn't know why. But Horikita Suzun seemed relieved. It seems that there is no problem. So I started doing my own thing. It seems like nothing happened. Pretty much the same as usual. But. And the bathroom. Kushida-san was indeed taking a shower, but the soundproofing effect of this room was not that strong. After discovering that Horikita Suzun was back, she actually turned off the shower. Then he listened to the conversation between Horikita Suzun and Sakura. I also saw Horikita Suzun holding Sakura-san's hand through the gap in the bathroom. From what she knew and judged, Horikita Suzun was probably shaking hands with Oreki Houtarou a few minutes ago. But it is possible that he found that his heart was shaken. So I was thinking about whether I was falling in love, so I came back to consult Sakura-san. Indeed. Horikita Suzun's character and appearance of having no friends, no experience of falling in love with others, no feelings of admiration, or in other words, no idea of what love is. But in his heart, Horikita was probably waiting for his first love or something. This is an emotion that is hidden inside and will not be revealed. And now, Kushida can almost confirm that Horikita Suzun is in love with Oreki Houtarou. And it's still my first love. But it's a pity. Horikita-san doesn't understand love. Because he hates Horikita, Kushida will not take the initiative to tell him such things. Thinking of this, Kushida suddenly felt in a good mood. Because before taking a bath, she received a message from Oreki-san. It seemed that after the exam for privileged candidates, the school gave the students 3 days to continue their cruise. That means 3 days of vacation. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 216. So he invites her. Let's call it a date. Although I don't like it. However, since Oreki is the person Horikita Suzun likes, it doesn't hurt to play with her. Ah, Horikita-san is back. Kushida walked out of the shower. She actually takes a shower in the morning and evening. It's not that she likes bathing very much, but taking a bath can make her mind empty. It's one of the rare moments when she doesn't have stress. The 200,000 yuan for you has been transferred to you, Horikita Suzun said calmly. I'm going to take a shower and go to bed. Saying this, only a back figure was left for Kushida. And this is as inhumane as ever. And during the preferential candidate exam, it can be said that Horikita can become a friend. In the end, Horikita Suzun, is this how you treat your friends? Kushida. Kushida. Kushida continues to look cute. She decided to hold Oreki-san's hand tomorrow too, in the same position as Horikita Suzun. And the other side. Oreki-san came to the deck with Kamuro-san's mobile phone. First of all, congratulations on your great victory in this exam, came the cute and rhythmic voice of Sakayanagi-san. The end time of the examination for preferential candidates is 2200 hours in the evening. And now it's close to 23 o'clock. The information on the ship must also be transmitted to the school in real time, so Sakayanagi Arisu may have learned about it from his father, who is the chairman. This is also thanks to Sakayanagi-san's derivation of the favored persons rule, Oreki said. So we can take the best plan for this exam. I have already listened to Kamuro-san's report, Sakayanagi Yuzu said, but in the end, the person who won the big win was Oreki-san. Almost half of the points earned by all students were taken away. Oreki-kun, are you so short of money? Sakayanagi Yuzu said. She knew that Oreki-san had been collecting points since he entered school, and then converted the first 20 million points into cash. And now, he started targeting all the first-year students. Still collecting points. Since points can be converted into money, there is no problem with Sakayanagi Yuzu saying this. But is this what Sakayanagi-san cares about? In this time's Kojima exam, Oreki-san has points worthy of Class D's class evaluation score of 270. Then I directly received more than 30 million points. Now click on the student ID card. Then you will find out. Name, Houtarou Oreki. Student ID, 100-861-0010. Class, Grade A, First Grade. Private account, 38.683500 points. The points on his student ID card have become extremely scary. If the points previously converted into cash are added, the number of points flowing through this account has exceeded that of the best student president in history. The student council president's points are probably collected from the students in the class, but they still have to be used in the class. But Oreki-san collects here the ones from the whole grade, and then just his. The two are different concepts. Then, is Oreki-san short of money? There is no shortage now, Oreki-san said. But the more points, the better, right? After all, this is a school where strength comes first. Points are paramount, so having enough points also represents strength. Sakayanagi Yuzu nodded in approval. Moreover, although Oreki-san drew half of everyone's points, it is a fact that every student received 250,000 plus points. And 20 million points can be used to transfer classes, so it is also possible to buy Oreki to their class. After all, this man directly earned half of the points in the entire grade. Compared with this man for 20 million, if it were her, she would choose to buy him over. It's just her. I wonder which class will have such a genius idea in the future. Therefore, it is reasonable for Oreki-kun to have collected enough 20 million points to protect himself. but it will take about 3 days to return to school. Oreki told Sakayanagi Yuzu that after the preferential treatment test was over, Mr. Majima added on the radio that everyone can continue to rest for 3 days. That is to say, she would have to stay at school for another 3 days before seeing them back. Indeed, Sakayanagi Yuzu said. The school without Oreki-san is very boring. There is no one who can fight. There is no one who can fight. So what did you do in school? Oreki-san felt that it would not be a good idea to pursue the matter now. Because in the precognitive dream, he and Sakayanagi dated in the first semester of the 2nd grade, and then, she dropped out of school because she was pregnant. But 10 years in the future, it is Horikita-san who really wins. So who is true love? So, Oreki-san, who didn't know who his true love was, fell asleep at night and dreamed of Kushida-san. The school's ship, the Hedgehog Cat, continued to sail, with the vast blue sea on both sides. No one is paying attention to how the ship is going now or what island it is going around. Because now is a real vacation for 3 consecutive days. There is no need to worry about facing exams again, and there is no need to be nervous. It's great that I didn't get kicked out of school. I got 250,000 points at once, and I can buy as much as I want. No, you can't say that, because didn't Hirata-kun say that the points we have will be recovered when we graduate from school? So let's accumulate it. Now, this makes more money than working outside dash. Yes, I want to go out with a sum of money dash. The students in Class D, 1st grade, were in a good mood. And the fighting spirit is also very high. The idea of saving also came up. In other words, Hirata-kun also conveyed the idea of saving money to the students of Class D. Oreki also noticed that the pink and somewhat old-fashioned twin-tailed Sakura-san next to him seemed to be adjusting the camera. She loves taking selfies and capturing beautiful scenery. If it is very free, then he will accompany her. After all, Sakura helped a lot in this preferential treatment test. Kushida blocked him, and then he borrowed her mobile phone, and then used this as a way to catch Kushida-san. Increase your experience. But he checked his phone. Sakura-kun, I'll excuse you now. Sakura-san is very well behaved. Although she hopes that Oreki-san will be her model again, since Oreki-san has something to do, she might as well let him go. But who is Oreki-san going to see? The place Oreki-san is going to is the theater of drama. However, he walked directly down, and on the first floor he met Koenji-san, who had just come up from the swimming pool and was covered in water. Sir, please don't get all the water on the stairs. Jyuan Temple is as usual, causing great trouble to the staff. He seemed to have just come out of the swimming pool, but he also brought a lot of water with him. So as he moves around, the ground will become wet. Didn't I say that there is a saying called a shui lingling man, and I am a shui lingling man? Koenji laughed. And I haven't dried myself off for as long as I can remember. This forced the staff to use very long towels to dry his body. Well done, I'll make an exception and sign it for you later, Koenji said. Signature, the staff still didn't understand. Of course it's my name, Koenji Rokusuke said confidently, don't look surprised. I will become a man with neon lights on my shoulders in the future. When the time comes, be prepared to take a big ship to greet me. Of course, I'm not talking about a passenger ship of this level. I'm talking about a more noble and larger one. However, the staff still looked confused. Apparently, he didn't know that the Rokusuke of Koenji in front of him was the only son of a famous tycoon, and his future development would definitely be very strong. Hey, isn't this Oreki-san? And Koenji, who has a strong future development, noticed Oreki-san coming down the stairs. I already know your plan this time. He said, I knew it when Hirata informed the classmates. So the last time you came to me was because of this matter. You didn't know about the preferential treatment in other classes, so you came to me to open this gap. He thought Oreki was using him to get the names of Class C's favored recipients, and then deduce the pattern. That's not entirely the case, Oreki-san said. Before we started, I had already joined forces with Horikita-san. When she confiscated your cell phones, I already knew the information of the 3 preferential recipients of Class D. So I came to you to check the information of the preferential treatment recipient. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 217. Plateau Temple. That's it? At that time, he thought that Horikita girl was very good, and he worked very hard to maintain the scores he obtained in the Kojima exam. The result is this. At that time, Oreki-san's initial idea was to go directly to outcome 1. Then take away half of the points from all students. In other words, Oreki-san probably discovered early on that there is a pattern to those who receive preferential treatment. After all, if you don't know the rules and want to go to result 1, then you also need to get the information about the preferential recipients of other classes. Is it necessary to use spies? And this is certainly not the direction that the school wants to guide students completely. However, Kojinji is now focused on other places. Because Oreki Houtarou's insight seemed to be even better than he initially expected. He did kind of want it. So, Koenji then said. Then from the known names of the 3 preferential treatment recipients in my class plus the names of the 3 preferential treatment recipients in your class, how much time did it take for you to deduce the pattern? It's a rule deduced by Sake Inagi-san in my class, Oreki said. No, but Gao Yuanji shook his head. I mean, if you were to deduce it, how long do you think it would take? How long will it take? Maybe it will take a long time. Not required. Because it is skillful. Just like the number 41 stronghold in the small island exam, you can get 50 bonus points after discovering the stronghold and swiping your card. Because discovering that stronghold means that you have understood that this island is actually an artificial island. So the same thing. The test direction for preferential candidates is thinking. In other words, as long as you understand that there are rules for giving preferential treatment. So, the derivation of laws is basically free. In other words, listing out the list will be a very simple rule. Probably 1 minute and 30 seconds, Oreki estimated. Koenji seemed to smile and said no more. Because it probably takes longer for him to figure out the rules. So Oreki-san can do this, and it is what outstanding people should get. So Oreki, do you want to become the person carrying the neon lights with me? Koenji made the invitation. No need, absolutely no need, but Oreki-san immediately refused. Takahiraji is the heir to the chaebol, so his invitation is basically to join his chaebol. And an interesting person once said that it is impossible to work part-time. And Oreki-san doesn't want to work part-time. Really? But you will come to me one day, Koenji Rokusuke said meaningfully. You are very lucky now, and if you want to solve this kind of thing, even in an honest way, then there's a way. And the Kojinji Zaibatsu, where I am, is indispensable. After saying this, he laughed boldly and walked forward, while the staff who had been in a daze for a while quickly went to wipe his body. Oreki-san, on the other hand, continued towards the theater. It seemed that he met Gao Yuanji and had a conversation, so he didn't take it to heart. And in the distance, standing on the deck, a handsome and even handsome boy was watching here. This is Ayanokaji Kiyotaka from Class D, first grade. His presence in Class D is not very strong. He had been nearby just now, but everyone seemed to regard him as the background. But that's okay. Because he got a good piece of information. Does that mean that Kojinji pointed out Oreki Houtarou's flaws? Good luck. Defect. It needs to be above board. This is it. Ayanokaji thought that this probably refers to polygamy. Takahiraji is the heir to the chaebol, and his huge financial resources can influence the political arena. Then this solution can also be introduced. As long as it is pushed out, it will be accepted by society for boys who are good enough to have multiple partners. And his identity here. That man was active in politics in the past. That man expected or hoped that he would surpass him and reach the highest position. But since he is leaving the White Room now, that man will not give up so easily, so he will arrange for someone to come in soon. He missed the opportunity to achieve absolute safety. But that doesn't mean you're completely helpless. For example, although the man would not give up and even arranged for someone to come in, then the pressure may increase in future exams. He missed the opportunity to occupy a position in the school, but there is someone who has already obtained this position, right? Oreki Houtarou. According to Kojinji, since Oreki Houtarou still lacks a promulgator of polygamy, then wouldn't it be okay for him to be the promulgator? So, maybe this is a way out. Because he probably also understands that all he can get is these 3 years of free time. And at this moment, in an open-air theater, 10 o'clock has passed and the stage play is going on. Today's performance is the famous novel Gone with the Wind. It is also the work of Gone with the Wind that Oreki-san read in the library before. Scarlett didn't find out until Melanie died. Melanie often stood by her side with sword in hand, silently loving her like her shadow, and fighting for her with blind and passionate loyalty. With the Yankees, war, hunger, poverty, public opinion, and even her dear blood relative Scarlett understands that sword. The sword that once shone coldly to protect her from the bullying of the world has now been permanently sheathed, so her courage and confidence have slowly disappeared. Actors perform on the stage. The performance was a cup of tea, and the second female lead failed. What do you think of this script? And Oreki-san came to a corner. Although the entire ship was on vacation, the students were free. During these 3 days of vacation, they did not need to worry about taking exams. So you can play like crazy. But there were less than a dozen audience members in the entire theater. He walked towards a corner, where a girl with short blonde hair was. This is Kushida Platycodon. She is like a little angel, with burgundy pupils that are quite beautiful. And she seemed to be concentrating on the stage play. The heroine of Piaoli is Scarlett, and there is a supporting actress named Melanie. Scarlett has a unique personality, and is also a pretentious and arrogant type. And Melanie is purely silly and sweet. Scarlett likes Melanie's husband, and she even wants to steal her husband. But Melanie had no idea and regarded Scarlett as a good friend. It was not until Melanie passed away that Scarlett realized how important Melanie was to her. Although the results are different, Oreki-san thinks that the relationship between Kushida and Horikita-san is similar to this. Not interested, Kushida said. Also, I think there is something wrong with Scarlett. Someone with such a personality actually likes a weak person like Melanie's husband. Oh. That's it? But you will not be like this in the future. You still want to wear Horikita-san's pajamas in the future. Speak of it. Oreki-san said you are very popular recently. My classmates witnessed you being confessed to. Kushida refused. She said. She is the little angel of Kushida, cute, and has the attitude of a virgin, which makes it easy for others to like her, especially some simple boys. But dating and falling in love is not what Kushida wants. What she wants is to be friends with everyone, and falling in love will reduce the number of friends. Because I heard that students' love almost never ends. And about 10% to 30% of them do. It's hard to make up your mind when you think you're not even halfway through, so now I realize I don't want to fall in love. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 218. She said. There is nothing more wasteful than a love affair in school days. I see. Then it would be the same as him, Horikita-san. They are all people who feel that they don't want to fall in love in high school. While Oreki-san was thinking this, he suddenly noticed that Kushida turned around. How about we shake hands, she said. Although when getting along with Kushida, she often gives some cute benefits. However, it was the first time that I took the initiative to ask for a handshake or something. What happened yesterday? Oreki-san said keenly. I hate it, Kushida said. I am also a girl. Although I have always rejected others, I am still somewhat interested in my lover's handshake and so on. Oh. Since Kushida-san needs to provide him with experience points, it is no problem for Oreki-san to satisfy her occasionally. Only. Oreki-san looked at Kushida holding his left hand with his soft left and right hands. It reminded him of last night. Horikita-san held him in the same way. So. Aren't you acting the same as Scarlet? He's trying to steal Melanie's man. Kushida-san. In this way. 3 days of leisure time flies by. After returning to school, Oreki-san also used teleportation to go home and first picked up the cat that had been left at a friend's house. Because his campus time has begun again. July 1st. Incubate High School. As usual, the head teacher will inform you of 2 things. One is the class evaluation scores updated after each month's exam, and then there are the rules for the special exam that month, etc. Certainly. Your account has received 181,000 points. The transfer party is XF10001. At 7 o'clock, the school transfer arrived on time. Oreki-san looked at his account. Name, Houtarou Oreki. Student ID, 10086100010. Class, Grade A, 1st grade. Private account, 38,854,500 points. As always, the number of points is high. Good morning, Oreki-san. And when he went to the classroom with his mobile phone and sat down in his seat, a greeting from a very cute girl came from the right side of Oreki-san. This is his neighbor. A girl with silver hair. The girl is very beautiful. The skin is quite fair. The eyes are like gems. She looks cute and has very textured silver hair that makes people want to touch her. It can be said that this is the cutest girl type that Oreki has seen since birth. This is a girl in my class. But the other person looked very petite. He is not very tall, and he seems to need a cane to move slowly. And this is Sakayanagi Arisu. After the exam on the island and the ship vacation, everyone met again the little Princess Sakayanagi who stayed at the school. And it was also because Oreki-san told everyone about the law of preferential treatment derived by Sakayanagi-san who was far away at school. Eventually, everyone can earn points in the preferential test. Then you can also stabilize your position in Class A. So even if Sakayanagi Yuzu didn't go to the island to take the test and the privileged person test, she still won everyone's respect. The number of students from the Katsuragi and Sakayanagi factions began to become anxious again. It is also possible for a student to defect one day and then head to the other faction. Morning, Oreki-san responded and then lay down on the table. It seemed like he didn't sleep well last night. Yuzu Sakayanagi withdrew his gaze, but took out his cell phone and contacted Maesumi Kamuro directly. The Divine Room. Kamuro-kun found that he had received a message on his cell phone. She was obviously sitting at the table behind Sakayanagi Yuzu, so why did she need a mobile phone to contact her at such a close distance? However, she still looked at the message from Sakayanagi Yuzu seriously. Because she knew who her master was when she returned to school. This exam was done very well. But Kamuro-san. Oreki-san seems to have become more resistant to attacks by cute girls. Did something happen? Kamuro-san stared at the message from Sakayanagi. You seem to be saying something terrible. By the way, aren't you happy just because you greeted Oreki cutely and then was dealt with by him in a normal way? But Sakayanaga's message came over again. Could it be because Oreki-san was always paying attention to and surrounded by girls during the exam? For example, Kamuro-san, you have been working for Oreki-san, right? Profound. Does Sakayanagi Arisu think Oreki's resistance to girls has increased, and what about the experience value she provides here? Yes. Kamuro-san knows that she is also a girl. But, in other words, is it because of Kamuro-san? Sakayanagi Yuzu quickly sent a message. It seems that I made a mistake by lending you to him. I didn't expect Kamuro-san to fall in love with Oreki-san at all. Do you like it? She clearly experienced dark history. Also, it would be quite scary to be regarded as a love rival by Sakayanagi Arisu. The Divine Room. So Kamuro-san, who couldn't resist at all, reported that Oreki-san was very popular. You are all here at this time. A man in a suit and ties appeared in the classroom. This is Mr. Majima, the homeroom teacher of Class A. First of all, starting today, Class C will become Class D, he said. It also means that the classes among the 4 classes are fluid. Oreki-san's Class A has a score of 1801. Ichino's Class B has a score of 970. Horikita-san's Class C has a score of 780. Class D, where Ryuan is located, has 440 points. Ryuan's class really dropped from Class C in the morning. Students from Class A had already noticed that Ryuan's class had not changed. But the class card of their class has changed. It was changed from Class C to Class D. Then, Teacher Mashima wrote this month's special exam on the blackboard. All grade sports meeting. Chapter 094 Sakayanaga's apology, I am too weak to help. Teacher Mashima wrote this month's special exam on the blackboard. All grade sports meeting. A sports meeting is probably something similar to a sports meeting and a sports festival. Then, this is the information I want to send out. Mr. Majima's arrival today was not just a person, he also brought a stack of information. Distributing it is the rule of the sports meeting. The first thing that caught your eye was the participation of all the students. In other words, as expected, the writing sports festival turned out to be a monthly special exam. Rule number 1. This sports will divide students into 2 groups, red team and white team. That is to say, it becomes a red and white competition. All classes A and D from 1st to 3rd grade are collectively called the red team, while classes B and C form the white team. And the 1st to 3rd grade here means, all Class A and all Class D have become a front. According to Mr. Majima, Ryuan's Class C has fallen and became Class D. So this time, Oreki-san's Class A will be in the same group as Ryuan's class. Certainly. For students in Class A, there is a continuous process from the entrance code of conduct test, to the written test, and then the Kojima test and the preferential treatment test. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 219. Class A has maintained its status and advantages. So what you need to pay attention to in the current exam is the score. You have to consider whether this exam will shake your status, how to maintain your class ranking, etc. Oreki-san quickly browsed the rules and found it. There are a total of 13 events in the sports meeting. 9 of them are mandatory for all. They are 100-meter race, hurdle race, inversion contest, men only, netball competition, women only, male and female groups tug of war, obstacle race, 2 people and 3 legs, fight on horseback, 200 m race, It is mandatory for all students in the class to participate in these 9 projects. And rewards and punishments are set up. The reward is that the first place in each event will get 15 points, the second place will get 12 points, the third place will get 10 points, the fourth place will get 8 points, and the fifth place will get 1 point. There are also recommended competition events. It is not mandatory for all members to participate, but it is recommended for the strong to participate. Borrowing items competition. 11 tug of war in all directions. 12 mixed men and women, 2 persons and 3 legs. Grade 13 joint 1200 meter relay. The score values of these 4 recommended competitions are high. The first place can get 50 points, the second place can get 30 points, the third place can get 15 points, the fourth place can get 10 points, and the fifth place can get 8 points. The last event, the joint 1200 meter relay for all grades, has a score of 524 points. Undoubtedly the highlight. The above are the required events, and you will receive points after the ranking. The points will be added to the class you belong to, and then all will be included in the scores of the red team and the white team. Then, the result is very consistent with the school's style. In the comparison of the total scores of the red team and the white team, the losing team will have 100 points deducted from the class evaluation scores of all classes composed of the team. The winning team adds 100 points to the class evaluation score. This is a showdown between 2 teams. Certainly. The total scores of each class will also be ranked for each year. The class that takes first place in the comprehensive score will be awarded a class evaluation score of 100 points. Add 100. Class evaluation scores for classes that place second in overall scores will not change. Add 0. The class that ranks third in the overall score will have 50 points deducted from the class evaluation score. Minus 50. A class that ranks fourth in overall score will have 100 points deducted from the class evaluation score. Minus 100. So, almost after reading the test scores, Sakayanagi Yuzu suddenly said, "Although I'm sorry to say this now, because of my health, I basically have no choice but to abstain." For it. This is true. Her health was poor and she was banned from participating in all sports. Oreki-san looked at the result if he abstained. Because everyone is participating, if everyone abstains, they will basically be regarded as the last one. While you can get rewards for winning each event, there are also penalties. Students are required to participate in 9 compulsory events. Among the students who get the top 3 rankings, the first place can get 5,000 private points, or a score equivalent to 3 points in the written test. The selected points cannot be transferred to others, and the second place can get 3,000 private points, or a score equivalent to 3 points in the written test. It is equivalent to a score of 2 points, while the third place is a score of 1,000 private points or a score equivalent to 1 point in the written test. The scores in the written test here can be applied to the next written test. Oh! These few points are nothing to the students in Class A, and as academic masters, these rewards and written test scores are nothing to them either. For example, Kamuro's classmate with poor grades would not care much about these written test rewards. Then, Oreki-san saw Kamuro-san looking seriously at the words awarding points for the written exam. "By the way, you still care?" Oreki-san, on the other hand, continued to look down. In the 9 mandatory competitions, the last place will be punished by deducting 1,000 private points. Oh, this punishment. It doesn't make any sense. But, after all competitions are over, the school will confirm the scores of each student, and then identify the 10 students with the worst grades in the school and impose harsh punishments. The specific punishments will be explained in detail based on the selection of the class teacher of each class. Think a little. Oreki-san stood up and said, "Mashima-sensei, what is the content of this punishment?" "This has no impact on our class teacher," Mashima said. Because the 10 students from the bottom will have their exam points deducted in the next written exam. 10 points will be deducted for all exam subjects. Profound. In competitions where individuals are forced to participate, if you win, you can get extra points on the written test, and if you place at the bottom of the list, your written test score will only be -10. And the written test score for each subject is -10 or something. There is really no problem with Sakayanagi Arisu. She is a super academic. So, Sakayanagi-san bluntly stated that he would abstain from voting, and everyone in the class understood it. That's it. Sakayanagi-san continued. As for this sports festival, because I abstained, I will not give any instructions. Oreki-kun, what do you think? She said. What do you think? Is it like transferring the Sakayanagi faction over, just like the exams on the island and the exams for privileged candidates? Me. Oreki-san rubbed his head. I think it would be better to leave the arrangements for this sports festival to Katsuragi-san. Katsuragi-san found that he seemed to have been pushed twice in a row. But now that his name was called, he quickly stood up. Since you all pushed it over, I'll take it, Katsuragi-san said. Class A now has an absolute advantage. So Katsuragi-san doesn't want to split. And since Sakayanagi is willing not to participate in the command, it is excellent, avoiding the competition between the two factions due to different opinions. At the same time, judging from the scores of this exam, they are divided into red and white groups to compete, and then there are competitions in the same grade. Among them, their class A cooperates with Class A of Horikita Academy, the student council president, and also cooperates with Class A of the second grade, so the winning rate is very high. Among them, Nagamo is the representative of the second grade. His Class A was promoted from Class B last year. However, because he is also in the student union, Katsuragi-san also understands that Nagamo is the controller of the second grade. Therefore, the class with the best student council president, and the class controlled by the second-year students, must not fall out of line. So as a first-grade Class A, you will basically be taken away, and you will add 100 points in the class evaluation score. At the same time, take a look at the scores of the same grade competition. First place add 100 class evaluation points. Second place add 0. Third place -50 class evaluation points. Fourth place -100 class evaluation points. Overall, this is a low-scoring game. The students in Class A have strong hardware in all aspects, so there are not many students who are too weak in sports. So we can't end up in the last place. It makes sense to put a steady person like him in charge. Then, teacher, can you give me the podium? Katsuragi-san looked over. Okay. Although teacher Mashima informed the students of the exam rules, the class meeting time was originally reserved for students. However, what I need to tell you is that starting from today, I have been given 3 weeks of preparation time, which can provide you with free practice. There will be more physical education classes to prepare for the sports festival. Then after the second class in the afternoon, we go to the gymnasium for mobilization for the sports meeting. Saying this, Mr. Majima gave up the stage. The chairman's philosophy is to give autonomy to students and allow them to develop freely, and as the head teacher of Class A, he does the same. Then, Katsuragi-san came to the stage. Decide to make preparations before arranging the corresponding appearance sequence or plan. In other words, after going to the gym in the afternoon and coming back, we will conduct a test of everyone's physical fitness and so on. These are very reasonable solutions. Oreki-san, on the other hand, remains slightly sleepy. The Divine Room. And Kamuro-san is sitting behind Sakayanagi Yuzu, even though Katsuragi-san is now narrating on the other side of the podium. But she found that Sakayanagi Yuzu was not in a good mood. I don't know if she was unable to participate due to health reasons and continued to abstain, or, She had just transferred the command of the Sakayanagi faction to Oreki, but Oreki pushed her away. It's similar to when you give a gift to the person you love, but he not only doesn't want it, but also throws it to another woman. So Sakayanagi-san curled his lips. The divine room. Sakayanagi, you are in danger now. As Kamuro-san, who cooperated with Oreki-san in the preferential candidate examination and guarded the door several times, she felt that Sakayanagi Arisu was in a state similar to that of a girl in love. But she herself had a dark history of almost being attracted to Oreki, only to find out that she had been deceived. So I thought I might have made a mistake. After all. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 220. Sakayanagi Yuzu said that if she became the student council president, she would not let Oreki Houtarou join the student council. In other words, they are not even offered a position. Therefore, it is possible that the above actions were sugar-coated bullets deliberately unleashed on Oreki-san. As a result, the three front rows of the Oreki and Sakayanagi factions were all distracted. However, the same notices and examination rules are also implemented in other classes. For the students in Class B. Sports Festival. Ichino-san is a little troubled. Because sports is her shortcoming. But I want to participate in more projects, said Shibata-san, a member of the football club in my class. If I run, I should be fine. There are many students in Class B who like sports, are good at sports and join various sports clubs. So that's a reassuring place to be. However, we also need to carefully formulate response plans. And Kanzaki Ryaji frowned here. He did not do well in the last island test and the preferential test. He even almost did something negative in the preferential test that was unacceptable to the class. So he wants to think seriously now. Therefore, the students of Class B want to deal with it seriously. And Class C, no, this is Class D. Ryuan's class. I've been waiting for a long time, Long Yuan said. This time our class has only one plan. Ryuan said. Get as many class evaluation points as possible, and then. He paused. Take over the points from Class C's preferential treatment test. As for Class C, well, it's Horikita's class now. It seems that there is no need to discuss it at present. Because the results are obvious. The written examination is torture to them, and the sports events are also devilish to them. In this way. It's lunch break time. Probably because he felt his mental state had recovered from last night. So Oreki-san made an appointment with Kushida-san and Horikita-san to meet at the same place. The three of them came to the tables and chairs for rest under the shade of the trees next to the small fountain. It's July now, but it's not too hot yet, so it's quite comfortable to stay in the shade. And Oreki-san said. I guess your class has also received information about this special exam. Kushida realized that some time had passed and Oreki-san hadn't revealed that she was from Class D. Oh no, she was now in Class C. So she was not exposed as a traitor to the class. So the preferential candidate test passed like that. But she was also unlucky. Originally it was only once a week, but now it has evolved to twice a week. I always feel a little bit shortchanged. But now it is a rare meeting between the three of them, which means that Oreki Houtarou has finally not forgotten her, and he will take her to make money again. In this way, the service that gave him a heavy hemorrhage last night was rewarded. Wait a minute, but just as he was about to speak, Oreki-san took out his cell phone. The phone vibrated. He didn't simply broadcast the received information by voice as he did before. After all, some of the points that have arrived now are actually not very visible to the light. But the students in Class B are really good kids. Oreki received 4 transfers today. The class evaluation score of one school is 181,000 points. Ichino-san collected the 450,000 transferred from the 15 students from Class B who signed the agreement. Then Horikita-san collected a transfer of 1.08 million worth of Class D's class evaluation score of 270 points. Then there is this one. 1 million private points have been credited to your account, and the transfer party is unknown. Note, you seem to have lost a little weight. Did he lose a little weight in the hope of making him fatter? By the way, why do you want to make him fat? It seems that Oreki-san's sponsor senpai likes you very much, Kushida-san said at this time. She behaved no differently than usual, showing an expression like a cute little angel. At the same time, she also found that Horikita Suzun didn't respond when she held Oreki-san's hand again. But Horikita has also changed. For example, he no longer reads the vocabulary book when he comes out together. But is Horikita Suzun like this, completely unresponsive to her holding Oreki-san's hand now? Because Horikita Suzun doesn't understand love at all, so she doesn't know that she is being cheated on. Therefore, Kushida found that his actions seemed to have no meaning other than making her look like Bitike. So she withdrew her hand. Why do you say that? Oreki asked. This financial supporter's senior sister's information was not even dreamed of in a precognitive dream. In other words, it seems that she will not exist in the future. Because there is only one reason why girls want boys to gain weight. They want other girls who like him to give up on themselves. But she doesn't dislike him, Kushida-san said with high emotional intelligence. In other words, Oreki-san is quite fanatically loved by the sponsor senpai. Horikita. Horikita Suzun. Okay. Horikita-san still didn't respond. Kushida was convinced. It seems that Horikita Suzun is the type who doesn't point out the character directly and then doesn't know. Really, Oreki-san put the phone away. Let's leave the financial sponsors matters aside for now. I have extracted points from your class every month. This number is enough to return to the sponsor senior sister when I break up with her in the future. Oh. So you divide you divide Class C's class evaluation points for this purpose. Kushida found himself back in school, and then moved up the class once, feeling a little uncomfortable. But Kushida also felt that he had deepened his understanding of Oreki Houtarou. This man seems to hate trouble. As long as the sponsor senior sister comes forward to ask him to complete something that is difficult to accomplish, then he will probably directly return the points to the other party. That's why he didn't want to hear about her dark history at all. The reason was that he thought she was troublesome. Snort. Then call us out this time. Kushida continues to maintain the image of a little angel. Well, it's the usual plan to make money, Oreki said. And he handed Kushida the rules of the sports festival that Mr. Majima had distributed. Our class basically puts Katsuragi-kun in charge. Then the battle plan and the like don't require much attention. After all, everyone's physical fitness is good, Oreki said. In other words, you get points for nothing, right? Since Oreki and the others are in Class A, they are together with Class A of the 2nd grade and Class A of the 3rd grade. Although he also formed a red team with the entire D class. But unfortunately, Kushida and the others Class D has already moved up, so they are now Class C, and this time they have to cooperate with all Class B. Then you are really happy. Kushida was a little envious. Because compared to Class A, the situation in her class is very bad. When Chibashira-sensei announced the sports festival, 80% of the students in the class were wailing. Are you wailing? Yes. Because the students in the 4 classes were all selected through the same complex set of evaluation criteria. Among them, Class A and Class B have the best hardware. Class C's hardware is a little worse, and Class D is basically a gathering place for poor students. Of course, there is some moisture in saying this. Class D is supposed to be a place where poor students, with a dark history, defective products and problem children exist. As for the various strengths of problem children, some of them would not lose to Class A. And now, although the class has moved up, the students in the class have not changed.